Sagittarius full moon. What is the full moon good for? Celebration. Yeah, we're celebrating the goals that we set 14 days ago, or maybe not intentionally set goals, but think about whatever goals you've had and start recognizing any ways, any tiny, even the minute baby steps that you've taken to get there. You might not completely be there yet, or maybe you are, but celebrate the goal. What was the goal that you made 14 days ago, if you made a goal on the new moon? And in what ways has it come to fruition? For me, it was to have fun. Look at your birth chart to see where your Pluto is placed. Where your Pluto is placed in your birth chart can oftentimes give you an idea. It's the Saturn sometimes too, what the other side of that teeter-totter is between what the goals that you set are and what comes up to test you. So for me, for example, I have Pluto in a house in my chart that has to do with daily activity and has to do with, basically, there's Virgo there. I tend to get caught up in organizing and cleaning my home instead of having a good time sometimes. And sometimes I will use chores as a way to almost unconsciously keep myself from having, like, unconsciously maybe punish myself or ground myself to keep myself from having a good time, or I'll tell myself I can't do this until I have a clean home or whatever. And but that has to do with where my Pluto is placed, and it's really interesting, like to recognize that in yourself and then see your chart like validate that. So where is your Pluto located in your chart? Where is your Saturn located in your chart? Because Pluto has to do with karma and power and repeated things that we've gone through over and over again in past lives. And we keep going through these things on multiple dimensions. I don't know if you've ever seen the TV show, The Magicians, but there's a character in the TV show. She goes to the principal and she's doing this thing and he starts laughing and she's like, "What is so funny?" He goes, "I have seen you come in here 567 times," or something like that. "And each and every single time you do this thing." And she's not aware of it because he exists outside of that time-space realm, so he's able to see the multiple dimensions and the past lives and things like that, and he gets to be there for it. And she doesn't know. You only know the one that you're in this moment, right? So right now we're in a Sagittarius full moon, and the Earth is in Sagittarius, and the galactic center is also here in the constellation of Sagittarius. So the galactic center is the center of the Milky Way. It's the part of the Milky Way that is the most photographic from the capabilities of our cameras that we have and our technology for now. And the galactic center is where our multiple dimensions exist. Excuse me for that hiccup, the unlimited possibilities. It's one of my favorite phrases that I learned from a Kelly Howell meditation way back in the day, The Secret to Manifesting Wealth, where she has you like go on a race and encounter all these obstacles that would get in the way between you and materializing your money, or abundance or wealth. And it was really useful for me. That it was a really great meditation. Changed my life. But so I was talking about unlimited possibilities. That's our galactic center, the center of our Milky Way, where all the parallel dimensions exist, where we can see that they all exist. So Earth is we're in it right now. And we've got a full moon shining on the shadow of all the possibilities that we never even knew existed. So it's pretty cool. I've got some cards to pull for this day. And whatever goals that you had set on the new moon, you might see a little bit of it coming to fruition now, or you might not. Those roots might still be under the ground, metaphorically speaking, or literally speaking, if your goal was to like grow some tomatoes or whatever. but you will see fruition of whatever it is if you stick to it between now and November. So I'm going to draw some cards that will give us a little bit of a clue as to what will help those wishes come true between now and November, those goals, those focuses. What are the things that we need to know on our path? I also have, I mentioned this on the new moon in Gemini. I mentioned that the biggest thing for Gemini and Sagittarius is, or anybody who is living through Gemini season, which is right now, or anyone who has prominent Gemini placements in their chart, and even Sagittarius, is to feel our feelings. Anyone with air signs too, so that would be Libra, Gemini, or what's the other air sign? Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius. We're really good at, intellectualizing our feelings away and just keeping it all up here. And the thing about it is that we're going to be much happier. We're going to have a lot more fun, and we're going to be much more useful if we can keep this and this connected. So even when things aren't feeling good, we need to be able to say what it is that doesn't feel good. So, I just realized I have these. So we got a box of feelings, and then we've got a box of needs. So a lot of times when there's feelings, there's a need that goes with it. And so here we go. I'm going to try to keep this short and succinct because that's one of the things I'm working on. I tend to be a talker, and I just want to give you the information in a way that is palatable rather than in a way that makes you go to sleep. And I know personally, my attention span has been trained to be shorter in my adult years. So Gemini season, it's really common for people to get caught up in avoiding the feelings. There's a lot of thoughts, and a lot of thoughts that go around in the hive mind and the collective consciousness can bring up a lot of feelings for us. Sagittarius, for example, type vibe and energy can be very blunt, and people's feelings can really get hurt. Even though Sagittarius is like the horse that escaped from the stable and it's running through the fields, and it's not thinking twice about the fact that it's said this or that, and other people are hurt by that. It just said it, and it doesn't mean anything painful by it, but it just happened. So these things can happen a lot, and it will give us power to be able to, it's amazing how quickly it cuts it out. So I'm going to give a hypothetical situation, but you can come up with your own situation as to what scenario you might use these. Okay, so let's just say you've got a situation where somebody's you did blah, 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 and you didn't do blah, 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 and I thought you were a friend, but you're not, or something like that. That would be very much a Gemini kind of vibe, right? Because it rules the teenage years, and so let's say you've got something like that going on. And you're like, wait a minute, what's your first instinct when somebody's like, you never blah, blah, blah? You want to be like, well, actually, I blah, blah, blah on blah, blah, blah. And I do blah, blah, blah. And I am a friend and a blah, 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 right? Your first instinct is to argue, right? Because we have fight, we have flight. So your instinct might be like, oh my God, this is too much. I can't even right now. Let me whatever, that would be flight. Or there's fawning, which is the South Park was on earlier today. I was in a hotel, and the mother of Cartman is like, "Oh, Cartman, whatever you want is whatever you can have. I'll do whatever you want. Okay, pookie, wookie, wookie." He's like, bah, 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 bah. And so my dog was really into watching it too. She was like, huh? Anyway, it was such a crazy episode. And I feel like South Park is very Sagittarius. But I don't have TV programming, so like I was really happy to see this in a hotel room. I was like, oh wow, this is like still good. It's still funny. It still makes me laugh. It's the only show that I wouldn't put closed captions on because I can totally understand what they're saying, and it's funny like the way they talk. And I don't want to distract from it. But okay, so that would be fawning, like, oh, whatever you want. Can I get you anything else? Even when the person's like being like, yeah, 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 yeah. So that's fawning. So you've got fight, which is like, actually, I do blah, blah, blah. Or you don't do blah, blah, blah either. Or, you know, like that would be fight. And then flight would be like, I can't even, like, give me a drink. I'm out of here. Or like, you know, like flight would be like, I'm not even engaging with this. Let me just like escape. And then there's fawning, which is like, oh, you know what you want, and then there's freeze. And that's like, you just don't do anything. You're just like stuck. Like, I can't do anything. I can't even move. I don't even know. So those are the places you want to go. You want to like go there, right? But you don't actually. What you want to do to get regulated, because those places keep you from creating and having fun. And you want to create and you want to have fun and you want to live life for more than just trauma and drama, right? Drama, llama, trauma. So, you know, and you don't want to get stuck in that place. Like, you know, sometimes we can be feeling these feelings, but we don't know what to do with them. And we're trying to avoid that we feel these feelings. So we're like blaming others or we're doing whatever to get out of the feelings. Okay. So you grab your deck of cards that have all these feelings on them. And it's amazing because I always thought that like needs were feelings. Like people will be like, I feel like you are blah, blah, blah. I feel like you are lying to me right now. That's not a feeling. That's an experience that you think might be happening, and it may as well be, it probably is happening. But it's not a feeling. The feeling is something else. Do you feel inspired because somebody's telling you that you're not enough and that you didn't do enough and that you weren't like who you were, and that do you feel inspired by that? Does it make you feel open? Here's another thing too that is really important. There's more than just that situation going on in your life, right? Like your whole life isn't just that one little scenario, right? I mean, hopefully, if we're lucky, there's like other things going on. So maybe you just started taking karate and the sensei told you you're doing really well. So maybe you're like inspired at the same time as you're feeling other feelings. You can't deny that you're inspired. Just because this other thing also happened simultaneously in the same week doesn't mean that you're not also inspired by this other situation. Are you grateful? Well, maybe. Are you feeling grateful right now? Or did this thing, whatever it is, did it trigger you to the point where you can't access your gratitude? It's okay if you can't. So you decide, like, are you feeling overwhelmed? Definitely. Overwhelm would be like, okay, so if you're feeling a feeling, you can also be like, was I feeling that before this situation happened? I wonder if that person is feeling this situation. Maybe they don't want to hold this feeling. Sometimes you'll have a feeling that someone else doesn't want to hold and you're feeling it for them. So just going through this, like, are you feeling troubled? And it's really super basic and simple, but it's like the opposite of what we've been taught to do. Are you feeling lonely? Like, and you can be like, yeah, that person's probably lonely too. Like if they're feeling like, you know, if they're feeling like I'm not enough, they must not feel like they're enough. Are you feeling shocked? Are you feeling reluctant? So you go through all these things, and it's really interesting because you make a pile of all the things that you're feeling. You can make a pile of the things that you might be like, I think they wanted me to feel this, but I don't. Or I do actually, or maybe I do, or maybe I feel this and I'm not even aware that I feel this. Like, let's just put this over here. So make some different piles and stuff. And it is amazing once you do that, how all of a sudden, it's like intellectualizing in a way, but it's way different because you have literally just taken the power of intellectualizing, which is processing, and you've taken that powerful processing like ability that the brain has, and you've brought it down to the heart. Like, hey heart, I'm your friend. Like, mind and heart can be friends, and here's what I have for you. Did you know you can process this? Let me show you how. Tell me how you're feeling. And then telling me about your mother. No, telling me about your feelings. I want to know what you're feeling. No, it's actually thinking, but really I think he wants to know what they're feeling. But the next cards are think the needs. So consideration. Do you have a need for consideration? I can guarantee you if you're dealing with somebody who has an empty cup, you're not going to get that. Like, are you needing to be seen for who you are? You're not going to get that. If somebody's in a rut and they're like really caught up in their mind and they can't let their mind and their heart, and they think that things, if they're like in black and white thinking and all that jazz, you're not going to get that, right? So if you're not getting that from that situation, are you getting consideration in other situations? Are you getting so much consideration that you're okay? And it's okay that this friend is not able to give that to you? Are you getting to be seen for who you really are so much that it's okay that this friend isn't seeing you for who you really are in that moment? Do you need celebration? That friend probably won't be able to do that with you in the moment. But like, are you getting it from somewhere else? So do you need to be heard? Do you need protection? Do you need honesty? Do you need power in your world? Do you need understanding? So these are needs, and they're very different than feelings. And you can look at your feelings and you can be like, what feeling goes with what need? And vice versa. And it is amazing because when you do that, there's so many questions you can ask yourself. You can be like, oh, this might be a shadow need. This might be something that I needed that I didn't realize I needed. Like, if a whole bunch of feelings come up over something that you're like, whoa, that's not my stuff. You might be triggered because there might be some needs that you have that need to get met. And you might have or you might be like taking on feelings from the collective that keep you from getting your needs met. So it's really, really useful. I highly recommend this. I had mentioned this on the new moon as something for anybody with like prominent air in their chart. Air is Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. Anybody surviving the seasons of Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra seasons, which are, June, May, February, and Libra, I think, is October. These are really, really useful. They're by Grok. Nonviolent Communications. This is what the little container. I've used these for years. I used to use these with clients. They're great. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw a card because we're at 18 minutes. So I'm going to use the Rainbow Moon deck. This is by Samantha West. It is so beautiful because we're Sagittarius full moon. And a lot of people say that Sagittariuses are like the rainbow, or that they're like rainbow, like magical creatures. They're very much like the horse or the unicorn, like got out of the stable and is just running free. People see Sagittarius as being very free. So yeah, Rainbow Moon. And it's Pride season right now too. And Pride season is a time where we have evolved past the high school age, which is like Gemini. We've evolved past. So Gemini is like our second programming. We have our first programming from our original caretakers, and they're like, this is the way of the world. And when you go to school, you're going to learn about kindergarten and sharing and caring and being nice. And then you go into your teenage years and you're like, I'm rebelling against whatever those guardians told me. And now it's time to learn what my friends' guardians have raised them with. And part of that involves rebelling against what you already knew, because some of the things are going to have to fall away that no longer apply. So that is the embodiment of being able to like let go of like programming that doesn't serve you, or that isn't going to help humanity or help with evolution or growth or higher learning or intelligence. That is a very Sagittarius type thing. Sagittarius is all about world travel. It's all about expansion. And Gemini is all about just knowing a little bit about like everything. But at the same time, we have to remember we don't know everything. So, with Rainbow Month, Pride Month, it's very much about recognizing, if you're not fully accepted where you come from, despite the fact that you're trying to harm none and you're just living for love, and you're trying to like live in more love, and you're not accepted in that way where you come from because it's different than the original programming that you got or the secondary programming that you got in the Gemini phase, which is the teenage years, then there's still a world beyond that. And that's what Pride Month is like for a lot of folks. It's about embracing that there is so much diversity in the world, and we can make the world is our family too. Our family isn't just, friends and family of like our formative years in the first 10 years or 12 years, or just the teenage years. And our brain doesn't stop forming until we're 25, 26. And then even then there's neuroplasticity beyond that point. So Pride Month is very much about like embracing like that the world is your oyster of family. Like we can all belong to each other and see each other in the collective. So drawing a card from this deck. It's got the back of it's really cute too. A little like eye-seeing thing. Okay. So we've got 3 of Cups upside down. So if you get a card and it's upside down, look at the rest of the cards around it. If all the cards are upside down or most of them are, then just turn it right side up. But if it's about half and half, consider that it could mean the opposite of this. So I just said it's Pride Month, and it's really interesting because like a lot of people are partying it up, right? But sometimes with partying it up and celebrating that there's belonging beyond where we came from, we might be stuck in our past. We might be stuck in regards to like maybe not belonging where we came from, and having a harder time embracing that we belong. But if you notice in this picture, it's really interesting when it's upside down too. So the 3 of Cups has to do with partying it up, and it's like one step beyond like the it has to do with growth, and it's one step beyond the pairing. So this is where we're starting to step out into community. When it's upside down, it's really interesting. It reminds me of, so here's how you read a card if you don't want to look at everybody else's interpretation all the time. What pops out at you on this card? This is called the phenomenological approach, and I'm just giving you a little tiny taste of it. And I learned this in a psychology class. It's a type of psychology, and we were taught to do it with tarot and various things in a holistic psychology program I was in. So what's popping out at you on this card? And you might be like, oh, I'm noticing that they look like bats. Oh my God, bats. That reminds me of bats. And I saw bats hanging upside down together. And did you know bats like to cuddle? And they have such a sense of belonging, and they can see in the dark. So it's really good for shadow work. And we can see so much more in the dark right now during this full moon in Sagittarius. We can see all the things that are of a Sagittarius nature that we were, maybe people thought we were blind, quote unquote, to, because people say blind as a bat, but really we're not. So just let your mind just go there. Like let your mind spin out on like what you see there and say it out loud, write it down. Another thing, if there's one thing that pops out, what's the one thing for you? For me, it's the star right here. And this cup is upside down, and it looks like, so I was saying like partying it up, but sometimes when people are more caught up in not belonging where they came from, it's hard to celebrate the fact that the world is their oyster, and there's an entire galaxy of humans and beings that one can connect with and call their family. So they might overindulge in things to numb the pain, like alcohol or drugs. So for me, this card would be like pouring that out, another thing too, like if your cup is not overflowing, you're not going to get what you need. If somebody's cup is not overflowing with all that good stuff, like the needs, if their needs are not extremely met, they're not going to be able to meet your need for connection and belonging and understanding and to be seen for who you are and appreciation. If their like cup is empty. But this, I'm seeing this as a star, like, like if you empty out your cup, the galaxy, the universe still has more to give you. There's an endless supply of possibilities, and what you need is out there, ready to be fulfilled, because that's what we're here for in this experience, is to like have the experience. So, and that's a very Sagittarius way of thinking of things. But so what pops out at you, if you were to have that thing that pops out at you talk to you, what would it say? So let's say I would be like, okay, this star, I've come out of the cup, because these bats don't really need me. They're hanging out upside down and they're ready to take flight into the night. And they're fine. They're just holding the cup because it's a tradition to hold the cup. But like, I exist in the cup as much as I don't exist in the cup, because I'm part of star matter, and everywhere you go, there I am. We are all connected. We are all part of each other. And there's no use crying over spilled milk, because there's an endless supply of stars like me in this Milky Way galaxy. And by the way, we're in Sagittarius season right now. And we're in Gemini season right now, full moon in Sagittarius, and Earth is in Sagittarius. And the galactic center is aligned with Sagittarius as well. So we are in the galactic center. The galactic center is the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And it is where all of our parallel dimensions are in our past lives and our future lives, all of them. So we can see like all of the possibilities, especially under a full moon, we could see all of the possibilities here on Earth. So right now we're going through that type of place, that type of experience. So that's one way that you can read these cards. You can also read what the person has to say about it. Some authors don't even bother to write a description for what it means upside down, but typically upside down oftentimes means the opposite. So here it's about friendship, soul connection, surrounding yourself with people who balance you. It's a rare occurrence to find out people who understand us inside and out. Our friends can be the family we choose for ourselves, giving us the love we need. You found your people, and it's important to appreciate everything that they bring into your life. So it's kind of the opposite of the scenario that I was like playing out, hypothetically speaking, that can happen a lot of times around Gemini season when we get more up here than in here, and we think we're disconnected. This is saying our friends are everywhere, and appreciate everything they bring into your life. You found your people. Well, this was upside down. So maybe you have found your people, but they're not totally people. Maybe they're bats. I just made that up. But, or maybe you're connected to like more than just people. Or maybe your people are people who don't do drugs and alcohol, because maybe you have been doing too much drinking and too much drugs. So we're looking at what are the goals that you set for yourself within the last couple of weeks, and what will you need to know on your journey between now and November to see that come to fruition. So for me personally, it would be maybe like letting go of the substances and being cozy with people, and maybe coming out more at night, or recognizing my connection to everything in the universe. And substances for me would be like sugar and white flour. I'm noticing that my body feels way better when I'm like letting go of those things. And substances for me also would be, I'm going through hormonal changes, going through menopause. And part of menopause is like you get this gigantic belly, and you get like your hormones are like all over the place. And so it's about deciding, do I want to replace those hormones that I've lost with the science has made a lot of achievements in my lifetime to where I could get hormones, I could get progesterone and I could get estrogen if I wanted to feel better and to help my sit-ups work better as well. So it's like, it could be, like letting go of substances, or I could just become at peace with the fact that my body has more testosterone now because it's going almost towards menopause. And this is how I am with more testosterone in my system. Maybe I'm not as kind all the time, and maybe I can be less patient, and maybe I can get snotty and sassy and sarcastic more. So it's like, what is it for you? What are the substances, or what are the things in your cup that you want to like let go of? Maybe your cup is overflowing and you're just hanging out upside down like a bunch of bats. Maybe it's not a great time of celebration. I know a lot of people were afraid to go to Pride this season because there's been an increase in violence, and things haven't felt as safe. So it could mean what you need it to mean. But the moral of the story is there needs to be more appreciation for the people, your friends and your family. There needs to be more appreciation for the people that are like you, and more unity and growth, I think. And there's always room for that. Okay, the next deck that I'm going to pull from is the Sacred Incantations. This is a project by a couple of people, and it's called The Project of the Enfleshed. It's rituals of transition, wisdom for every season. We're all going through transition right now, and there's so many different kinds of transitions that we can go through. Not just plastic surgery, not just gender stuff. There's so many transitions, like divorce, marriage, being a newlywed, being a new parent, buying a home for the first time, all by yourself, starting a new business, taking your business to another level. There's so many transitions that we're always all going through. And I feel like this is really beautiful. And in November, I have felt like we have had some plutonic shifts lately, and Pluto rules Scorpio, and I think we've had some things at 0 degrees, and 0 also rules Scorpionic energy, which has to do with protection, and it has to do with transformation. So this is the card that I've pulled for that. So here, it's interesting, I'm seeing 3 people, even though we only see 2 hands. So there's 2 people with their hands on this person's shoulder, and this person is crying a rainbow. And kind of reminds me of the 3 of Cups reversed. So maybe like things aren't as happy as they could be for everybody during a time where we would hope so. So there's different chapters to this project in this book, and this particular chapter has to do with decaying. So it says, be a wreck, look a mess, fall apart, we still love you. So that little example that I gave earlier of like, if you're in a situation where like your friend is telling you you're not enough and you're not there for them, and they're lashing out at you, and they're really caught up in what they're feeling, and they're part of their journey, and you're not able to be there with them. And so you go through your feeling cards and you find out what you're feeling, which feelings are yours, which feelings are theirs. You find your needs cards and you figure out like, are my needs getting met? Am I okay? What ways do I need to get my needs met? Maybe those particular needs are their needs, and like you just kind of sort out what the world and the realm of feeling and needs. So important for us with air, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, so important for us during this Gemini season. So you do that, and then maybe you just need to be a wreck. Maybe you just need to be sad and let yourself. So this is written by Anna Bladell and M.J. Kaiser. Artist is E.J. Miller Larson, and it takes 3 to 20 minutes. Just take whatever items that you have that make you associate with feeling messy, We often have to move through the world trying to keep it together. Despite facing individual and collective grief, fear, anger, exhaustion, or overwhelm, we often have to move through the world trying to keep it all together. Creating space to really let ourselves feel what we're feeling while still being held in love is critical for survival and the world of liberation. So that's like it sounds like we're doing with this ritual is kind of like what Cartman's mom in the South Park show does to him, where he's like, "Nyeh, nyeh, nyeh," and she's like, "Okay, honey boo, you woo, what do you want? You want some cheesy poofs?" So it sounds like we're kind of doing that with ourselves, and here's how we're going to do it. Find or create a space in which you feel safe, supported enough to let down your guard. Invite yourself to embody what's often referred to or imagined as a mess. Try to let yourself feel what you need to feel and express what you need to express without repressing, shaming, or minimizing. Pay attention to what your body needs to relax into in order to fall apart. Dishevel your hair. Cry yourself ugly. Let your tears and snot flow freely. If you wear mascara, let it run down and smudge your face. Rub dirt on your skin. Curl up under a blanket. Make noise, scream, howl, moan, throw pillows or leaves or handfuls of grass. Basically saying like throw a temper tantrum like Cartman. Practice knowing you in your pain are held in the company of love and lineage. Gosh, I really hope that we can do that for ourselves, and that we could find that in community as well, that other people could do that for us, with us. I love that idea very much. It's beautiful. So that might be something that you have to do between now and November before fulfilling whatever goals these are. Have you ever been a mess like that? I know I have. Lots and lots. And what I really loved about that card is that there were two people that had their hand on this person's shoulder. Two different people. You didn't see the people, you just saw the hands, you saw the support, and that is beautiful. Maybe it's just our guides that are with us during those times. I know I've had a lot of times like that where I've had the support of humanity, and there have been a lot of times where I've had the support of our guides, and both are valid, but it takes letting it in, like that 3 of Cups card, it's upside down. Like sometimes you need to stand up straight and let yourself receive the love that's there for you. The willingness. Not everyone's perfect. Not everyone knows exactly how to show up all the time. They can offer a lot of different things, and you can say no, 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 no. But are you saying what you want yes to? Are you giving people an opportunity to be there for you? Or are you, caught up in so much self-loathing that you're staying stuck in somebody, one of the astrologers that I listen to talks about a dirty diaper. Are you letting yourself sit in a dirty diaper all day? Or are you letting yourself, mourn with the collective? Maybe it's sad that not everybody feels safe going out for Pride. So are you mourning with the collective about that too? Or, are you willing to empty out your cup and let go of some substances and feel and name your feelings and feel and name some needs? Go for it, because the world is your oyster, and that is the pathway to getting what you want and what you're meant to have through this wonderful experience that we are all here sharing. So happy Sagittarius full moon. I hope this finds you well, and I hope you're able to enjoy and tap in.